Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Destiny Johnson. I'm with the 11th Street Bridge Park, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys, live from my kitchen. So you're probably wondering what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to have a very special chef, Miss Vita, the vegan chef, who's going to be leading us through a cooking class. So I'm going to bring in Miss Vita, the vegan chef.
Everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
And we also have another special guest, Miss Maya, who's going to be our moderator today.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So excited.
All right, Lavita. I'm sorry, Miss Vita, the vegan chef. We are going to have you take it away. And what are we going to be cooking today?
Okay, so again, good evening and welcome. And today we are featuring a blueberry crumble. It's an amazing dessert that's simple and easy and features very accessible ingredients. And it's one of the items that people are able to get from the farms that the 11th Street Bridge is behind. During the month of September, they've got great blueberries available. So that's one of the reasons why I chose this particular dish, so we can feature some produce that people are getting from their farms. And so that's what we're doing. I'm excited to have Maya here. She's been my, I call her an MC because I feel like a rapper with like a hype man with her in the space, or a hype woman. And I'm so grateful to 11th Street Bridge for asking me to be part of this series. It's always an honor to be asked to do this work. And I'm in love with their mission and a lot of their initiatives in this part of the city. But with the farms, they are trying to address creating an equitable food access. And that's something that really is in line with who I am. And so I'm grateful to 11th Street Bridge and to Maya and to Destiny, who's been the greatest as far as coordinating all of what is going to happen with this series. Okay?
Thank you, Lavita.
So, thank you. So, and Destiny is actually going to try the recipe with apples. She already has taken my philosophy about trusting yourself, which I say this in my classes, trust yourself, because cooking is a vibrational thing and you should be in tune with what you like, your taste buds, and so on. So she wanted to do apple rather than berry. And you're going to get to see just how well this recipe can work really with any fruit that you choose. Okay? So before we get started cooking, I wanted to say just a few words, which is hard for me to say just a few words, but, and I had to prepare the words so I can say just a few words.
Right.
But this is my kitchen. And my kitchen is this very special, like, sacred space. And it took me a while to articulate it in that way. And it took me a while to call myself an artist, but I am a culinary artist. And this is my studio. And my kitchen represents so much more than I think people think about when they think of a kitchen. So it's a space for creativity. Because I'm in here, I'm always inventing things. A lot of times I make things without looking at a recipe. Sometimes I look at multiple versions of a recipe and I go, I like that ingredient. I don't like that ingredient. What am I going to do to make this vegan? So this is a space of creativity. It's also a space of love because I'm loving on people who come here, who I feed. And I feel like, whenever we are in tune with our gifts and we are sharing them with others, that in and of itself is an expression of love. My kitchen is also a space of remembrance because this work was inspired by the loss of my mother. My mother passed away from cancer, and my whole journey towards a plant-based lifestyle was started with that experience. And that was over 20 years ago, but Every time I do this work, I have to mention her. We have a reverence for ancestors in my house. And so when I do this work, I have to mention her. And so I'm very excited to be sharing today. And so we're going to talk more because this pie, this crumble is going to take like a whole hour to bake. And we're going to save a lot of our talking for when it's in the oven. Okay? All right. So
all right. I'm gonna share with everybody the link to the recipe so you guys can follow along as we're going. I'm gonna put that in the chat right now. And also, this is also a very special session we have today as well, because if you all feel so moved, we would like you to also donate to Levita. Levita does so many awesome classes. And I'm gonna put her information in the chat as well. So give her some love, you guys, because she's loving on you all right now with this crumble that we're about to make. All right, Levita,
thank you.
I will give it to you to take.
Okay. Okay, so this recipe is in 2 parts. You guys, Destiny shared the recipe with you. And so I want to make it, I want to emphasize that it's 2 parts. And when we say we're making the filling, you need to be in that first part of the recipe, looking at that set of ingredients and that set of measurements. And when we say we're in the crumble topping part, you need to be doing those measurements. Okay, so the first thing is we want to turn on our stoves to 350. Okay, let's let the stove be preheating while this is bake on 350. Want to let the oven preheat. And you can also get whatever your baking dish is going to be. And you can put the Earth Balance vegan butter. You can use that to like lightly grease your pan or whatever it is you choose to cook in. I said 9-inch pie plate or something similar. And let me say this, the wider your baking dish is, it's like the less juicy your fruit is going to be, because it's going to be you're going to have a shallow layer of fruit. If you want, a nice layer of juiciness under your crumble, I would suggest you do the 9-inch pie plate. Don't go much bigger than something 9 inches. That's my point. You could even use a rectangular container. Okay, there are so many options. I left the camera to show you. So like if you wanted to use something like this even, okay, you can use something like this. And also, don't feel like you got to put all the fruit and all the topping in here. You could save it actually and make another one if you felt like, oh, my container won't hold all of this fruit, or this layer of topping is getting so thick. The topping can actually be saved for another time when you get some more fruit, or if you want to make a mini crumble, you can do that. Like I've got some, well, I'm gonna show you what I want to use today, just for experiment. I want to use my antique cast iron skillet, and it's very thick, but I put my pie plate against it and it's like 9 inches. And I love this because when you cook with cast iron, you're getting extra iron in your food. And also I don't have to worry about putting the pan under my pie plate to catch juice that bubbles over. If you are using a pie plate, I suggest you put a pan under it. That's what the recipe says, to capture juice. But I'm gonna try this. But what I was gonna say was, I also have little bitty, I have small cast iron skillets like this one. So I might even, I don't think I'm gonna have enough to have extra, but I'm saying your options for what you're gonna bake, or what you're gonna use to bake it, are lots of options, okay?
And Levita, so you say you need to spray it. Now, if somebody just has a stick of butter, do you just kind of rub that butter over? You put a paper towel? I mean, how can you use it if you just have like some butter? How does that work?
Yeah, if I had a stick of butter, because I had very little cooking spray, So this is my Earth Balance butter. It's vegan. It's my favorite. Okay, because it acts and tastes like butter. But I would just take the stick, okay, and just rub it in there. You don't have to have a whole lot, but you know, get it coated and go up the sides, okay? All right. And so we got that.
All right.
Great. Okay. Now, one of my okay, go ahead, Maya.
I was going to say, it looks like we're moving over to the fruit filling, but if you had something else, go right ahead.
No. Go ahead. You can tell us that next step.
Yes. So now we're moving over to the fruit filling. So this is just strictly for the fruit filling here. And I'm just going to do a quick run through what we need for the fruit filling. So I have here, we're going to need juice and zest of 1 lemon, 6 cups of blueberries or other fruit of your choice, about 0 or even to 4 tablespoons of sugar. So this is depending on your berries, right, Levita? It's kind of up to you of how much sugar you want to use.
Yes. And so, again, one of my philosophies around cooking is trust yourself. So I would say taste one of your berries, all right, or taste your apples and say to yourself, you know, let that help determine how much of this sugar you want to add.
Right.
Okay. If you go all the way up to the 4 tablespoons, that's going to be a sweet filling. And I've served it all kinds of ways. I served it to my guest the other day, and he was like, "Oh, this is great. It's not too sweet." And then I was like, "This is sweet."
Right.
So I'm actually holding back on the sugar today. Okay. But I just want you to get into this process. Taste your fruit. If it's not sweet, you might want to go on up to the 4 tablespoons. If it's kind of sweet, you might do 2 tablespoons. So let your taste buds be the judge. And also, once we get it all assembled, you can taste the juice. When we get all the fruit, put all these fruit filling ingredients together, you can taste it and be like, oh, I think I'll put a little bit more sugar in it. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. And then we're also going to need a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. So that's just for the fruit filling. So to get started, it says we're going to rinse and juice and zest 1 lemon. And then add that juice and zest to a large bowl. So I'll let you kind of.
Okay. Yes. So I already rinsed. Oh, Destiny, no. Get you some fresh lemons. Destiny, blasphemous. You better get some fresh lemons. I know lemons are expensive, but like at Harris Teeter, you can get a whole bag for like $3 or something, you know. Fresh lemons, people. All right? But if that's all you have. I can tell when that kind of juice has been used. But if that's what you have, I don't mean to condemn you to hell. That's not what I mean. But you can use it if you want. So look, I'm gonna show you. Everybody should have a zester in your life, okay? Mm-hmm. There are certain utensils. I'm like, get a zester in your life. Get a juicer handheld in your life.
Okay.
All right. So we wanna the zest, by the way, is the colored part of the peel. If you go too deep into the white, you end up with bitterness. And unless you want bitter, I would say just, you're just scraping it. Can you see this, Maya?
Yes, you might want to. Yeah, we can see you zesting it very well.
Okay, but look at that beautiful zest on the bottom of the zester. And I'm just gonna tap it, and there's zest in the bottom. Now, I always add, well, not always, but oftentimes I'm adding zest and fresh zest and lemon juice just to take my recipes to the next level. That's what I say.
Right.
So when I'm making desserts, when I'm making vinaigrettes for salads, all kinds of things, I go, let's make that all right. It adds another. This is my well, I don't really want these seeds. Give me one strainer.
Okay.
Yeah, the seeds aren't gonna hurt you. Anyway, I'm pouring all this through my little strainer. Be nice in there too, but anyway, I'm getting it's the main thing is this juice. And I like the juice of the whole lemon. I like it.
The whole
Now,
lemon.
if you think you're not gonna like that, you think that's too much, I guarantee you it won't be too much.
That seems getting her a little. I see you, Destiny.
If you think it's gonna be too much, then and take out a tablespoon of this juice and sit it aside.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Then
it's saying to go ahead and add rinsed berries to the bowl and gently stir to coat the berries. And
yes, so I rinsed my berries. And by the way, I'm doing blueberries and strawberries and like I said, trust yourself. This is what I was in the mood for. As long as you're 6 cups of fruit, you're good.
Okay.
That's the beauty of this recipe is that 6 cups of fruit, any fruit. You could do apples, stone fruits like peaches and nectarines and plums.
Yes, so you want to hear from people in the comments. So let us know what fruit you are using or what's your favorite berry. And I know I see some blueberries in yours, Vita, and there's some cool, as we're kind of coating it, I was just going to give a few facts about some blueberries, if that's okay.
Okay.
Let's see. They're low in calories, but high in nutrients. They are 85% water, and 1 cup only contains 84 calories. And I like the sound of that because that's under 100 calories. That's awesome. It fights high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and heart disease, anti-aging. Okay, ladies, anti-aging. Supports brain function, improves memory, delays mental decline. I mean, the list goes on. It's also in the same family as cranberries. So like cranberries, blueberries can prevent and help fight urinary tract infections because they contain substances that can prevent certain bacteria from binding to the wall of your bladder. So again, the blueberries, I mean, sometimes instead of getting that bag of chips, just get a bowl of blueberries and there you go, right? Yeah, somebody said carved fruit. Oh, somebody said they're using blackberries and blueberries.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah,
we see you.
That's a wonderful. All right, so you should have your whatever your fruit is. You should have it a lemon juice and zest. And the other reason why I love lemon juice is because, like apples, the lemon juice will keep the apples or something like peaches. So like if she eats her apple crumble tomorrow, that fruit won't be browned. Browning of it, okay? So that's another nice reason to get some lemon juice, some to your life.
That's true.
Here we go.
Okay, and just a reminder, we're just working on the fruit filling here. This is just the fruit filling. So now that we got our berries all coated in the lemon, in a small bowl. So this is a different bowl we're going to be using.
Just get a regular
bowl.
Small bowl. It might even be a cup. Just a smaller bowl.
A smaller bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to combine the sugar, the flour, cinnamon, and salt.
Sugar, flour, cinnamon, and salt. And can you remind us those measurements again?
Yes. Okay. Those measurements are, so for the sugar, it's again anywhere from 0 to 4 tablespoons of sugar. So that's kind of trust yourself. Okay. So see what you want there. The flour should be a quarter cup of all-purpose
That's
flour.
right.
You said a quarter of a what?
Of all-purpose flour. So
Yes.
1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And then 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then a pinch of salt. Just a little salt in there, a little dab.
All right.
Mix that all together.
So let me say this. Yes, a 1/4 cup of flour, that's 4 tablespoons. And like she said, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have to brag about my cinnamon. I actually I ground up my own cinnamon sticks.
Oh.
And okay, that's like a slither of heaven. Okay, when you grind up your own spices,
wow,
you will notice such a difference. It's not the same as, it does not taste the same as what you buy in a store, right? So I mean, it takes a little bit more of your time, but hey, it adds a little bit more love to what you're doing. So anyway, I grounded these the cinnamon sticks, and so we need a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then the salt. When we say pinch, you can pinch, of course, or you can think of it as a 1/16 to 1/8 teaspoon of salt. I have this 1/4 teaspoon. I just filled it like halfway, almost halfway. Yeah. And a dash of salt. And I love sea salt because you're getting some trace minerals, some benefits, some health benefits from that versus say the iodine one. But I love adding a dash of salt to all kinds of things. Sometimes I even do it in smoothies because it brings out what's there, what's in the recipe. All right.
Then
so we got that combined.
Okay, we got that combined, and everybody wants to just, your berries look so great, Levita. Before anybody pours it in, you're welcome to take a photo of your berries. This would be a great, if you want to post up on your social media and tag DC Bridge Park. And you can also tag Vita, the vegan chef. So when we get a moment, we'll make sure to put the social link into the comments. But these, I mean, it looks so good. You gotta just take a quick Snapchat of that. All right, but once you're done, you're gonna combine that powder mix into your berries and toss that all together.
Yes. So Destiny, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments, and it's something I think you might have gone over it before, but someone asked, like, what does it mean to grind your spices? I know you're talking about grinding your cinnamon.
Yeah. Okay. So it means like you have a device like this. This is a grinder. You can grind coffee in this. You can grind spices. And I literally put cinnamon. This is coffee in here now. I don't really drink coffee, but I have guests who drink coffee. So I have nothing against coffee, but this is coffee right now, but I can just put my cinnamon sticks right in here and you push this button and you'll hear the grinding, and it only takes a few minutes. So that's what I mean. I love cardamom, which is it's like a pod, and it has these amazing, oh my God, it's such a sensual spice. But I actually take those pods and I pound them with a pestle and mortar to get the little seeds out. And I don't call that grinding, but that is me, dealing with the whole spice. Okay. So, all right. So what? So you put this flour mixture on flour, sugar, cinnamon, salt mixture. And then you want to, thoroughly combine. Be gentle, like don't like mash all your berries. I'm kind of turning and stirring.
Okay.
But we don't want white in this. Okay. We want the flour to be thoroughly. And you might notice that this mixture is gonna start getting juicier. And that's because the sugar actually is drawing out the juice of the fruit. Okay, I don't know about you, but when I was a child, my mother used to make this strawberry syrup. And she, like, say if you had like strawberry shortcake or something, and it was just simply strawberries, and she would put sugar on them. And then it just turns into a syrup by way of sitting there. You don't even have to like cook it, but notice how much more liquid seems to be in here now that I put the sugar, flour, salt, cinnamon mixture on.
It's like cooking.
And so this is going to be
it's amazing.
Yes. And so in the cooking process, you know, of course, well, there's heat that's also drawing out juice, but all that sugar and stuff is going to just pull out so much of the from the fruit, and it's just going to be amazing. And like I said, look at that. I even have like it's almost like a whole layer of liquid down there now that wasn't there.
Here too, Vita. Sandra asked, she said, what other fruit pairs with blueberries if you are allergic to strawberries?
Well, there's blackberry. I've also done this. There have been times, well, there was at least one time this summer where I was like, oh, I really want something sweet. Oh, I really want a crumble. And I had a little bit of blueberries, and I had a little bit of, I had like half a container of blueberries, and I had like 2 peaches, and I had an apple, and I chopped all of that up.
Wow. Okay.
I wanted to get to like 6 cups of fruit, and it worked. It was fine. You could do almost anything, particularly with this type of recipe. So peaches go well, believe it or not, in this kind of recipe with blueberries. And yeah, I would imagine that other stone fruits would go well. So your plums, your nectarines, your cherries. It's such a range of fruit to be explored.
Right.
With this recipe. All right. So look, we have our filling. That's the filling done. Done.
When it's
right
here, once it's all combined, you're going to add that mixture to your baking dish.
Oh.
Okay. So the baking dish that you buttered, you can go ahead and pour that in. Ooh, I'm loving it. I'm loving mine. I'm gonna have me a nice juicy layer of fruit. And taste the juice. You can, we should have tasted it before you poured it out, so you can judge if you want some more sugar. Well, you can still sprinkle the sugar in and take your spoon and gently turn it if you felt like you wanted some more sugar, or even more salt, but not, well, I wouldn't say more salt, but if you wanted more cinnamon.
I wish I could just
how y'all feeling?
Take one of those blueberries and just pop it in my mouth. It looks good. Destiny, how's it coming along? I know you got your apples going on.
That's really good.
Good.
A little bit. I'm gonna trust myself a little bit and ask.
All right.
Okay. So
what
we
is
got
she adding?
Filling all nice and done, looking sweet and juicy. So is it okay if we move over to the crumble topping?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so now everyone, we're moving over to the crumble topping, so you can put that fruit filling to the side for right now. And I'm just going to go over the ingredients that we're going to need for the crumble topping. So we're going to need 1 cup of rolled oats, a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Again, trust yourself, okay? So trust yourself there. And we're also going to need 1/4 to 1 cup of turbinado sugar, and a pinch of salt, and 1 stick or a 1/2 cup of earth balanced butter, okay? All right. So let's get
those are the ingredients.
Yes.
So
what we're going to do first is add the oats, the flour, the sugar, and the salt to the food processor. So this is when we're going to need to get out our food processor.
And what if we don't have a food processor?
And it says here, if you don't have a food processor, we can massage the oats with clean hands to break them up. And then you add the flour and the sugar and the salt. So massaging those ingredients with our hands or stirring it, and then we can work the butter in with our hands. So this is when you can just get really earthy and use your hands here. So you can really get down. Sometimes I think the hands can be your best option, though. I mean, you can really, get in there with it. But if you have a food processor, that's fine.
So a few people in the comments.
You making me feel bad. You making me feel bad. I slid this food processor over. Now
I'm
doing it out of vanity. I don't want all that on my hands right now. But let me show you what I mean by massage. But Destiny, I think you were about to highlight something.
Yeah, somebody in the comments, a few people were saying that they didn't know about or they didn't see the turbinado sugar. So what's a good substitute if they don't have that?
Yeah, really any sugar, okay? It's like I don't use white sugar, but if that's what you have, you can use that. If you even if you wanted to add more brown sugar to this, you could as a substitute, okay? You just can increase the amount of brown sugar. And I want to highlight again that the amount of sugar here, I give you a range. And if you go up to the half a cup, it's going to be sweet. And if that's what you like, it's going to be sweet. Okay. like a cookie. All right. And if that's all right with you, then go for it. But there is a range for you to play around with. So I said 1/4 a cup to a half a cup.
Okay.
All right. Now, when I say, Maya just made me feel bad. This is a cup of oats. I guess I'll use. When she made me feel a little bad, I'm measuring out my cup of oats. And when I don't know about you, but I prefer my oats to be broken up some. So some people just dump the oats in and stir it, and you have these whole oats. I like to break mine up. So when I say massage, this is what I mean.
Okay.
It's like stress relief. If you can think of it as like a stress ball, it actually feels good. Thank you, Maya. It feels good. I started teaching, like my day job teaching, my humanities. We had our orientation for school today. Had a great day with my students. There was some preparation that we've been doing, so I've been under a little bit of stress, but good stress. So this feels good. But this is what I mean by break up your oats some. What'd you say? But I'm about to put mine in the food
myself a bowl of oats. I have 3 kids, so you already know the stress can be there, okay?
Right. So she told you what to do if you didn't have a food processor. And I'm going to go back to if you do have a food processor. Right. I can dump everything in here. If you don't have a food processor, you use your hands, break up the oats some, and you put those other dry ingredients in there. Okay. And then once you get the dry ingredients, you kind of stir them together. And then you can massage, you cut your butter up into chunks. And you can use your hand still and massage the butter into the mixture. You want it to look kind of like cornmeal, but coarse meal. Okay, like bigger. It'd be a little bigger than cornmeal, but so that's the hand method. And I'm gonna put my stuff in here. And I've lost track of the ingredients. So there's the oats.
I can remind you. So there's the oats. There's a half a cup of flour, and then there's the sugar. So the brown sugar is anywhere from 1/4 to a half a cup of brown sugar. And then the turbinado sugar is anywhere from 1/4 to a half a cup of sugar. And then we also add that pinch of salt. So we got our oats, our flour, and our brown sugar or any kind of other sugar.
Yes.
And then,
so you can increase the brown sugar or there are different types of sugars. Okay.
Yes.
this is my turbinado and brown sugar, and I went half. I did not half a cup, but I meant half of a half. I'm doing 1/4 a cup of each.
Okay.
Okay, just to cut down on the sugar. And it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, trust me. And you can put there's the pinch of salt. All right.
Okay.
The other day I made this, you guys, as a run through. And I went outside and got some fresh basil and put the fresh basil in my berries.
Oh.
And I put fresh basil in this with the food processor. It was heaven. Okay.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I would think that the basil will add, like, I guess, a bitterness to it. Or I think of basil, I just think of like the Italian food, but nothing sweet. So that's really good to know. That's really cool.
I've been doing a lot with basil. I have basil lime cookies that I make. That should be a lesson. Now, let me say this. If you use...
we have a couple of questions. It says, one person says, do we taste for sweetness before we put the butter in?
Yeah, do that.
Okay. And then another person says, I'm using almond flour. Bag says 1.5 per 3/4 regular flour. Do you suggest cup or follow measurements on bag? I'm using the almond. Said the almond, and the ratio to almond and flour is different. So do you suggest a cup or follow measurements on bag?
So it says a cup of flour, almond flour for what?
So it says anytime you're going to use regular flour in comparison, you're going to use, bag says to use 1.5 per cup. 1.5 cup per 3/4 regular flour. So he's wondering.
Oh my God.
I know, it's a little confusing. Now you can help me out here.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead.
I'll say this. I get it. I have used almond flour myself in baking, and I do the same amount of that's called for of regular flour. That's what I've done.
Okay.
And so there is some flexibility in this crumble thing. This is not like if you were baking a cake where the science has to be like more exact. So I hate to say this again, but you can trust yourself on this one. I don't think it will hurt. I mean, I even have a bag of almonds here that I was going to put in to add some extra oomph on top of what's in here. So I would
just use the same.
You will be safe. I think you will be safe using the same measurement. I don't think it would hurt anything either, though, if you went beyond. If the bag is telling you to add more almond flour for regular flour, it's not gonna mess up the crumble.
Okay.
I don't believe it will, because again, this is not a cake. All right. So if you're using a food processor, I didn't say this, but don't, post it some, post it some. I'm not trying to necessarily turn my oats into flour.
Okay.
But I'm trying to break them up. All right. And then what was the other thing? Say that again.
Can you scoot your food processor over a little bit to the left so we can kind of.
This way?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
So look at my mixture here. All right. Mm-hmm. And yeah. So I see my oats, but I didn't want those big pieces, So that's why I say use your hands and all that. And also don't overdo it. I'm late. People probably have already, they've done what they're gonna do. But don't overdo it on the posting before you put the you want to leave something to be broken up some when you put the butter in.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, with a knife, cut the whole butter into chunks. And add to the butter and add the butter to the food processor and pulse until the mixture resembles a coarse mill.
Yes.
Okay.
So, anyway, so I'm doing this, and it's okay if you have some bigger clumps. You know, there can be a few big clumps that adds texture and, you know, burst of flavor to your crumble. Oh, this is amazing. I'm not.
I wanted to share a few cool facts about oats that I didn't even know about. Oats can help with weight loss. They lower blood sugar. They reduce risk of heart disease. It's a nutrient dense, so it's good in manganese, phosphorus, and iron. It also has a lot of antioxidants, reduces cholesterol, helps skin conditions, prevents asthma, and relieves constipation too. I mean, it's really great in carbs and fiber, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals. I mean, you name it. It's really good. And I think the reason why it can help with weight loss is because it's fewer in calories, but it makes you feel very full. So I think a lot of, at least I try to start off my morning with a good bowl of oatmeal. And then I notice I sometimes I skip over lunch because oatmeal can be so filling.
Yes, I love oatmeal, and I make live oatmeal, like what do they call it? Overnight oats, where you just soak them. Yeah. And you have I put chia and flax. If I have nuts, if I have fruit, you know, and I'll put like agave and let that sit overnight. And you're right, it's so filling. Anything that's high in fiber is gonna make you feel full, make you feel fuller longer, and so you eat less. You're not eating just to be eating. You feel satiated or satisfied longer. All right. Right. So look at this beautiful crumble. And so what you want to do is then put this crumble on top of your beautiful
filling
fruit.
That looks good.
Yeah, and you can taste it. I don't know about you, but I used half the sugar. I used a fourth a cup of each of the sugars, and mine tastes perfect. And again, if I think this is a perfect amount for this skillet, and so I'm gonna use all of mine. But if you were like, oh, you know what, this pie plate, I got so much fruit in here, I can only go so far with this. I can only add so much of this crumble. Know that you can save it and use it another time.
Looks good. Destiny's yours is looking so good. Lavita's looking good. This is a perfect time to just pull that phone out again if you can. Maybe wipe the hands on a paper towel real quick. Take the phone out. Take a quick selfie, you know, and make sure you tag DC Bridge Park, and also at Vita, the vegan chef, because this is just looking. And it's not even baked yet. I could just eat it now. It's not even baked yet.
I can too. I'm very, very proud. I'm very proud of this. It tastes so good. You can taste it. How's your crumble? Destiny, how do you?
It smells good. I don't know.
You like the taste?
Whoops! Can y'all see it?
Oh, that looks so
that's
good.
Beautiful.
It, but yes, it's coming along.
Yes,
good.
How much sugar did you use?
A lot. I did the 1/4, and I just continued to add some brown sugar because I really like, you know, that cinnamon brown sugar rich taste. So hopefully, it's not too rich for me, but I try.
Yes.
So we'll see.
This is a good introductory dessert.
That's right.
For fall. It's like, I think even someone said earlier in the chat, like it's a good fall dish, you know, just brings up, you know, that cinnamon warm, toasty. Looks good. Okay, so once all that is good to go, you're going to place the baking dish on a baking sheet. And then you're going to bake for about 1 hour in the center of the oven until the fruit is bubbling and the topping is golden brown.
Okay.
Yes. And so, yes, and yes. I'm going to take out one of my wraps. or move one of my racks down here. So it takes a while. And by the way, in preparation for this class, I made a sample crumble and tried to do it faster. And I was like, I didn't really like the faster baking version. I felt like the fruit, you know, the berries, they didn't like burst and they were like whole, which is okay. But it's like, I wanted some of them to be to burst, and I wanted the inside to really combine with the flour and become like a thicker consistency inside. Not thick, but you know what I mean.
Right.
When you put flour or cornstarch as a thickener in something. And so this version, you're gonna see, it's gonna be so amazing, the texture inside. And again, it works well with any fruit. So we went way over and it's okay. We said 6 to 7. Just know that in about, I would say check on it in 50 minutes. But it's supposed to bake for about an hour, but you can check. And if your fruit is bubbling and that top is crisp, all right, and brown, you can, you know, I know our stoves work differently. So check on it, you know, make sure it's not burning. It's not gonna burn, but check on it. And if you wanna hang out with us, you know, just hang out, and we have some excellent things to talk about. You can stay, because we'd love to see what it looks like at the end. Or you can just post a picture and tag, so we can see what yours ended up looking like.
Okay, yes, please make sure everyone is tagging. And I mean, so Vita, is there an aroma in your kitchen right now that's smelling good? I mean, because I know that cinnamon can be strong.
Yes, I smell cinnamon and I smell brown sugar.
Oh.
You know, I that's what I'm mainly smelling.
Right.
That the brown sugar and the spice that we used here. But in the moment, it's all you're gonna smell all these things like come together, and it's gonna be so amazing.
This is one of those dishes where a Yankee Candle can make a candle and literally call it, like, you know, the berry crumble. Because I mean, I know the smell of it is just, I mean, it just hits home. It hits home.
Yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys like what you see, I want to let you all know, again, encourage you guys to donate to La Vita. Don't want to forget about that. I'm putting that back in the chat, and I know a few people have asked for the recipe again, so I just put that in the chat for those of you all who see it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And so we have some conversation, some different topics.
Yeah.
That we were like, oh, okay, this might be great to share while the crumbles are baking. Are there any more interesting questions though before we get into some of the things we generated to talk about?
I'm scrolling through.
Robin Ann Floyd said that your kitchen is a magical place, La Vita.
She's one of my dearest friends. Hi, Robin Ann. She's been eating here for like what, a decade or more.
Okay.
She's one of these friends who says, she's like, I'll get some groceries and be right over for me to cook. What do you want to have? What do you want to have to eat tonight? I'll get some groceries and we'll be right. She comes with her kids too. I love the whole family. So thank you, Robin Ann, for being here. So I wanted Destiny to say a little bit more about 11th Street Bridge and the farms that you all are behind and your mission, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So I don't want to lean on my stove because it's hot, so I'm going to transition. But you all can walk and talk with me. So yeah, the 11th Street Bridge Park, we're a project of a nonprofit called Building Bridges Across the River. And what we're doing is we're building an elevated park, a recreation space to connect Ward 6 and 8 across the Anacostia River. So a big thing, the park is coming very soon, but a big thing that we want to focus on, one is equity, but also like we want to make sure that we're giving platforms and places of voices for different artists like Vita or small businesses. We want to also create opportunities for jobs and workforce development. So we have a lot of different opportunities for folks to get involved in the process of the park without the park even being built yet.
Okay.
So a big thing, like I just said, was equity in our organization. So let me pause. Before, a big thing about our project, just in general, is before there is any, plans for the park, we wanted to make sure that we went to community members to make sure that one, if the Bridge Park is to come, do people want the Bridge Park in the space? And also what type of things we want to have on it? And also what type of things can we bring to the community in order to make sure that those who are living and have been living in place don't get displaced, don't get pushed out of the neighborhood. So community members helped us come up with not only the design of the 11th Street Bridge Park, but also all the equity initiatives that we mentioned. And I work with a lot of artists. I'm a program associate, so I do a lot of arts and culture work. I work with a lot of artists to make sure that they're in the platform to, showcase the work so that one day when we are on the Bridge Park, the people who we've been working with, people who live east of the river, east of the Anacostia River, have that priority to showcase what they do. So that's how Vita, as well as a lot of other great artists that we've been working with, have, been connected with us, because we just really think it's extremely important to elevate the voices of not only Black folks that live in east of the river, Black folks who live in DC, etc., just to make sure that we're keeping that. So again, we have a lot of different projects as Building Bridges Across the River. That was our nonprofit before the Bridge Park. Okay. But we have a lot of different projects, and one is the network of farms that we have. So we have 6 farms in Washington, D.C., mostly in Ward 8, and one in Ward 6. And those really are growing fresh fruits and vegetables for community members. They're either associated with communities of faith, like churches, etc., or other nonprofits. So a big thing that we do every year is we have a CSA program where folks can sign up, pay a certain amount of money, and you get fresh fruits and vegetables that are either or grown from our farms.
Oh.
What happened is we had our first CSA last month. It was super successful, even through COVID. You sign up on our website, bridgepark.org/farm, and then you sign up for the CSA. You come, and I know it's been COVID and everything, but you're able to pick up your items at the Ark. So we're actually kicking off the second round of the CSA starting this Saturday. So Vita actually mentioned that at the beginning of this broadcast. So we're super excited to have these recipes that, one, not only feature things that will be in our CSA, our bags, but also you get stuff in your bag sometimes. You're like, okay, how can I cook? How can I cook this? Or I usually eat blueberries raw, but I didn't know that I could make a crumble. So this entire series is really going to be about how we can rethink the ways that we cook our food and how we can expand our thinking about the things that we see every day in the grocery store. So we're super excited to have Vita, sharing with us, because before I started working at the Bridge Park team, there were certain things that I'm even embarrassed to say I never tasted, like kale or zucchini. But through programs like this, I've been able to learn and expand my palate a little bit.
Well, I think that's a normal thing, because I agree too. I wasn't really raised on kale and zucchini and squash. I mean, those are just things that we weren't really taught. And it's wonderful that we have people like Vita and different platforms that are kind of expanding our mind to say, hey, you can cook with these different types of foods and it actually still tastes good. So that's a great thing about it. That's just awesome.
And I can put the link to sign up for the CSA. I'm not sure if it's too late for this session, but I also want to let you all know that the CSA accepts Produce Plus as well. So a lot of different opportunities to get, if not free or reduced fresh fruits and vegetables grown locally. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to get free or reduced fresh fruits and vegetables grown locally. So I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. I love it. And you know, we like, I live in Ward.
I
live in Ward 8, and you know, we talk about the lack of access to grocery stores and how we're in a food desert. And so it's wonderful to see these type of initiatives, and to see Black people, you know, taking and we always have asserted ourselves and to correct our situation. Right. And so like I live not far from Union Temple, and I see members of the church out there working those plots, and I never I didn't put the connection together though with 11th Street Bridge, but I've seen the garden outside the church. It looks amazing. I go for walks sometimes, and I'm like, wow, this is thriving. And yeah, and I love showing that delicious food, it can be nutritious. And it doesn't have to be too complicated. Like if you notice what we used in this dish, it was really a handful of ingredients, you know. And so, you know, we use flour, we use cinnamon, we use sugar, we use a dash of salt, and we use fresh fruit and some oats. I think that's about it. 6 things. And 6 things you can recognize. You can recognize all those things. There's like nothing like foreign about those ingredients, and they're gonna come together into this wonderful dish. Now we got the sugar part, but we also got, as Maya was sharing with us, this fruit. The blueberry is what we were highlighting, but the blackberries, the strawberries, what have you, we could talk all day about the benefits of the ingredients. And I want to say that when I do my lessons, it is important to me to highlight this part about the benefits of the ingredients. If anybody has ever had me do a demonstration, that's always a piece that's in there. And I'm like, I got to research this because I feel like, and I got to share it because I feel like when people understand what their food is going to do for their bodies, they'll be more interested, more inclined to incorporate that food. Like perhaps from hearing about the blueberries and the oats, someone is like, you know what, I'm gonna eat some more blueberries. I'm gonna eat blueberries more often. Right. I'm actually growing blueberries. They're not in the right part of my garden, but I've had blueberry bushes on the side of my house, and I know they're in too much shade. But I grow them because I know what blueberries are supposed to do for me. And I eat oats, and I incorporate oats. I did several sessions over the summer that featured a black bean beet oat burger. And I know that sounds really
good. my whole family, I have kids aged from 6 to 2, and we all ate it, so it was delicious. Okay.
Yes, and so thank you. And that was the biggest compliment for Maya's youngest child, to be like, I give her the 100. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, you can move in with me. So, but my point is that again, wherever I can figure out how to put some oats into something, you know, I'm like, okay, all right. That can work. You know, I mean, if I didn't have flour, I could have just put those oats in this food processor and ground them up very finely and let that be my flour even in this dish. Oh. And so that whole piece about, you know, what is this what are these ingredients going to do for me, for my body? How are they going to benefit my body? How are they going to help me prevent ailments, disease, death? How are they going to help me fight certain ailments once they have set in? That's a very important piece. And I encourage people to just explore their food in that way as well. The other thing is, I'm amazed at how often I meet someone, like when I'm in a class and they haven't tasted a fresh version of something. So I did a lesson on stews from Ghana, West Africa, and we made 3 different stews. One of them was it was a peanut stew, and the vegetables in it were like sweet potato, okra, and corn, and some of the people in it had not tasted raw okra. And it's not, I'm not gonna say I've been doing this all my life. I haven't been. I mean, it's like a lot of this I've explored. I've explored in my older years or what have you. But you can eat okra raw. A lot of people find they actually like it raw because the slime isn't there. And so I encourage people, you know, taste your berries. Like when I said, taste your berries, see how you like it. Is it sweet? When you just eat the berry, is it sweet? A lot of times we don't pause. We're also in a hurry. Society encourages us to just be in a hurry all the time.
Right.
And there is something called like mindfulness or slow eating. And you might find that, oh, this berry is actually sweet. And I actually want to just eat a container of berries, right? But we do stuff to our food, like we cook it before we even know, oh, you know what? I can actually make a raw corn dish. You know, I make a raw beet salad. And I have had people here who are like, oh, you can eat beets raw. And so we need to slow down and really like mindfully take in our food and let this is what I use a hashtag, I cook by heart. And it really has to do with tuning into the fact that cooking is like a vibrational thing. So if I'm cooking by heart, I gotta taste the berry and be like, this is sweet the way that it is. I actually don't need all of this sugar or it's not. So I need some more sugar or what have you. And so, yeah, so I love that aspect of the work that I do as well. So
if someone said you had your raw okra and amino acid salad for a snack before they logged into the class. So look at that.
Who is that?
That was L Rock.
Who is that?
It said L Rock.
Oh, Lakeisha.
Okay.
She's been to like all of my classes that I've had during the pandemic. I love her. So yes. And I made up this okra salad, like when I was in that class with the African stews, because someone said, what are we gonna do with this leftover okra? And then I was like, in a matter of seconds, I squirted some liquid aminos, some agave, and some crushed pepper, and just whisked it together. And we put the raw okra in, and everybody gobbled up the rest of the okra.
Wow.
And then I shared that recipe with Lakeisha, and she made it. I think she took that dressing and put it on beets, I believe, and on okra.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that could be a lesson in and of itself, like just taking some raw things and
just mixing it all together,
just showing what you can do very, very quickly with some of these things.
I love it.
Yeah. So one of the ingredients, Maya, that we used was cinnamon.
Yes.
And there are some like amazing benefits of cinnamon.
Yes.
And that we wanted to share.
Yes. So cinnamon, Well, first, I don't know if anybody else knew this, but there's two main types of cinnamon. I honestly thought there was just one cinnamon, the one grandma uses all the time. But there's two types of main cinnamon. And tell me if I'm pronouncing this right, but one is called Ceylon or true cinnamon. And the other is cassia, the more common variety today and what people generally refer to as the cinnamon.
Oh, wow.
So cinnamon, the great things about it is antifungal and antibacterial. It's an antioxidant, so it fights rusting of the cells. In a study that compared the antioxidant activity of 26 spices, cinnamon wound up as the clear winner. So even outranking superfoods like garlic, which is really surprising because I know garlic has some great attributes to it, but garlic and oregano, it was so much more powerful than that. And it's so powerful as a natural food. And so also it's an anti-inflammatory. Its antioxidants make it anti-inflammatory. So it makes it prevents against diseases and chronic inflammation, which is linked to alignments such as diabetes and cancer. Reduces cholesterol, high blood pressure, and risk of heart disease. It reduces insulin resistance, and it can also be shown to lead to various improvements for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease in animal studies. So it's just really great. Again, like mind blown to hear how just cinnamon, something that I know I take for granted. I'm just like, oh, cinnamon, because sometimes it can be really strong. But who would have thought that this little stick of spice would have all those great, valuable, important things to it? So thanks for sharing, Levita. This is awesome.
I have questions.
And it comes from the bark of a tree, by the way.
Wow.
The cinnamon stick. Yeah. The cinnamon stick that we see, like, how you were talking about, you ground up your cinnamon. That would be. First of all, I'm really mind blown that cinnamon does all this stuff. Like, that's crazy. But the cinnamon stick that we see, right? Would that be considered the Ceylon or Ceylon cinnamon?
I'm looking at what this says, and it just says whole cinnamon. I'm really the only place where I've seen a distinction, like between Ceylon and cassia, is when I'm in like some very expensive grocery store, like Whole Foods. They might have Ceylon and the regular, but in general, I don't. And when I'm in a regular grocery store in the spice aisle, in general, I don't see that other one, the one that's called the true cinnamon. So I don't know. I just know that this is so good when I ground it up myself. it feels like it ought to be the more expensive, rare one, but it's so good. And by the way, I had this class, my first Zoom class when the pandemic started was on cinnamon rolls. I make these vegan cinnamon rolls, and my sister Dawn joined me. She had to get up really early. She was on LA time. And then one of my daughter's best friends, a family friend, we were in this class, and it was for me to test out Zoom. And I chose like the hardest recipe that I made to do this run through. But I think, and I think I had one of my 8th grade students sit in to tell me if I was boring or not. So Sophia sat in, and just like an 8th grader, she goes, "Levita, what does that cinnamon stick taste like?" And I had never just put a cinnamon stick in my mouth.
Right.
so I chewed on it just so I can respond to her. And it's so good.
Oh,
it's like a sweetness. There is a sweet and a spice, but it tastes sweet. So you got to try that. I don't feel like doing that right now, but I did it for Sophia, and I was like, wow. And so that bacterial antifungal property, it would be good for something like oral hygiene. There are some toothpaste out there, usually the more expensive toothpaste that have cinnamon in it. And I believe that's in part why, because it's antifungal and antibacterial.
That makes sense.
All right. And so, but it's amazing.
I see a couple. Oh, I see Shakita's here. Hi, Shakita. Shakita asks us a couple questions. Well, I'll go for you first, Livia. She says, how have you used your culinary art with children and families?
Well, so let me say this. Chiquita is my colleague, and she's also been like a life coach for me. Some people might not know this, especially in our school context, but she's like a life coach. And I remember us having a conversation. We were like in room and board. We're supposed to be looking at furniture. And then before we left, we're sitting in the car, and I was like, I want to go full force with my cooking work this year. And I was like, and I'm thinking maybe by the end of February, I'll be ready to do something. And she was like, why you got to wait till then? Like, can't you like start like in 2 weeks? And I was like, well, I think I like need my website, and I need all this stuff. Right. And she was like, no, you can start where you are. And so I did what she said. She said, give me a draft of your first lesson. And I gave her a draft, and then she paid for the lesson. It was supposed to be a draft. So then that meant I had to go and do the lesson. So, but ever since that, I have been like just on a roll, just doing a lot of stuff I haven't even posted. I'm just like organizing Zooms. Well, at first, before the pandemic, I was doing them in my house. And then the pandemic happened, and I shift to let me try out Zoom. So, but what has happened is I was organizing I just wanted like 6 people in my house at a time. So we could spread out in the kitchen and work. But what's happened is people are just asking me to do the work. 11th Street Bridge asking me to do this, right? And I'm assuming there are families out there watching, because some of my friends told me their families would be watching. But also Maya, the way I met Maya, I met Maya at work because her husband Prince is another one of my colleagues, a great man. And I've met her and her whole family at my school. But also Prince has a camp, and it's a wonderful camp called Royal Athletes. And what are the ages of the kids?
Yeah, the ages can range anywhere from 3 to about 12, 14 years old.
Okay. So Prince and Maya and her whole family, they were in one of my vegan burger Zooms.
Yeah.
And that's the one where the 3-year-old was like, I give it a 100. And then Prince said, can you do that lesson with my campers? So I did that lesson with his campers over the summer, and it was on a Friday. I think they have Fun Food Fridays or something, and they have the whole families on the Zoom, and so that was amazing. We had a good time. I'm sure. Well, you know what? I took a long time, taking a long time now, but everybody stayed.
It was worth it, though. I mean, I think
from
a lot of people learned a lot.
From 3 to 13-year-olds. Yes. And that's when I was like, Maya is my hype man, like when I'm having a rap concert. And so I was like, Maya, can you come, please? I'm doing this. So it's, And then I have another colleague, Doug. We're great friends. We worked together for 10 years. Doug is Jewish, and Pam might be on this call. I think she told me she was going to be here, Pam Summers. They run a program called Tikkun Hayir, and it teaches empathy by taking young people okay, so their goal is to teach a group of young people, they are middle school to high school, to teach them empathy by them studying hunger and homelessness.
Oh, wow.
And the kids have like a budget of like $15. And over the course of, I believe it's a 3-day program, they have to feed themselves off of this $15 to kind of simulate what it is to feed yourself off of a very limited budget. But my goal, my task was to show, hey, you can still make nutritional choices. I know this is like, I don't mean to be insulting, because I know if your preoccupation is just survival and to eat, that's like perhaps the furthest thing away from what you're thinking about. But my goal was to say, hey, let me show you what you can do with a 75-cent can of beans and like a half a beet and a 3/4 cup of oats. You can make like 6 to 8 burgers out of these things. Wow. And it was amazing. And again, that was young people, and their program was so great. So I was just a piece of it. I did the food part. They had an architect who talked to the kids about shelter, and they had a great rabbi. He and I were judges. The kids had a contest called Love in the Time of COVID, where they had to make a meal on a budget and serve it to people. And so it was a great experience. And that was an example of me working with young people, and it touched their families too, because they are in their houses, right? At 1 o'clock in the afternoon or whenever it was that we were making the food, and their families got to eat the burgers. And so we did it one time, and then it was so successful that Pam got asked to do it again for a second set of kids.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to do it again, but with a second set of kids. Wow. So I've been very, very grateful. And by the way, you know, I'm a humanities teacher. I teach history and literature to 7th and 8th grade kids. And a lot of my Zooms, when I was just trying to figure out what it means to do this virtually, my students, maybe they realized it, maybe they didn't, but I was inviting them because they are so honest about if you're boring, if you're not engaging, they will somehow get that across to you. So they joined, they came, you know, a lot of the lessons, they came, I would have several students, and they would join me and they would tell me, oh, Levita, I had a good time. Please let me know about the next one. On Mother's Day, I had a special lesson because my mother passed away 4 days after Mother's Day, and I wanted to cook. That I was just inspired to like cook and use the Zoom to cook with other people on Mother's Day. So I had several of my students came and they cooked for their moms. We started at like 9:30 in the morning, and we made like 2 types of pancakes. We made blueberry and plain. We made hash browns. We made pudding from chia seeds, and they served this to their moms. And then I had friends who'd also lost their moms, friends who couldn't be near their moms. It was such a beautiful fellowship, because, you know, and the kids, they got off the call and went and had brunch with their families. But a lot of the other people, we just stayed and fellowship together over the food. And one of them said, you know, it feels like we're at a table together, you know, eating. Wow. And so that was very powerful. So the Zooms have, you know, me doing these in the beginning especially was just helping me sort out the kinks of Zoom and just how I can best utilize it to do this type of work. I actually feel like I'm way better at this than teaching my humanities on Zoom. It's like, how can I make history and literature be this engaging over Zoom? Right. I have not figured that out, but yeah. So it's thank you for that question. Chiquita.
You mentioned something really like.
And so,
I'm sorry. I
go
was just
ahead.
gonna say, you mentioned something really powerful about like the power of food as healing, of the power of food as fellowship, bringing people together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like a lot of times, you know, it's a few spectrums of it, right? Sometimes people are like cooking to survive. Sometimes people are cooking as like therapy for themselves. Cooking can remind you of like a loved one. So I really thank you for sharing that. I mean, honestly, I feel like in the Black community, food is like a big theme, right? Everybody comes together, either whether that's around a dinner table or
Right.
a big celebration.
Right.
You know, there's got to be food. Where's the food? Who cooked? Right? So you got to make sure.
We got to inspect the food.
It's true.
No, it's true.
They made a whole
that
movie
potato
about
salad.
soul food. So I mean, you make a whole movie about it, you know, it's the real deal.
Right.
It's
Right.
True.
And
Right, definitely.
yeah. And so food is a beautiful thing. And I believe that, you know, it should be pleasurable. I'm not trying to get on this Zoom and be talking about everybody should be vegan and people already think we only eat rabbit food, and some people are already like suspicious of it, and they're like, okay. I have friends who invited me to stuff, and they're like, girl, what am I gonna get for you? You know, I was gonna get some carrots and some celery sticks, and I'm like, okay, please, you can do more than that. There's so much more than that. But there is like this perception, right? To eat green, or even just to eat healthy, it's gotta be not as good as when you eat unhealthily. Right. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just like dispelling that left and right. Like, this is just my realm. I'm not going to eat it if it's nasty, and I'm not going to be giving it to people if it's nasty. So that's a goal of mine. And I'm with Black people all the time, and they love my food. But right. Folks who come to my house, they don't ask me a whole lot of questions about. Well, they ask me questions, but it's not the type of questions that's right. Getting that it might be nasty. It's not those type of questions. Right. Sometimes people ask me questions. I'm like, stop asking me all them questions and eat the food, you know? And so, but what I'm saying is people, food should be pleasurable, and it should be, if it's not benefiting your body, then technically it's not food. Because food is supposed to be nurturing, right? At its very, base definition. It's supposed to be nutritive, you're supposed to get benefits out of it. So when we are kind of mindlessly eating and we're not connected to, again, whether this is setting me up for disease, degeneration, death, versus is this setting me up for longevity or optimal life and living. We need to be more mindful about that. Right. And so I'm not here to like convert people, but I do think people are like naturally interested when they're like, oh, this tastes really good. What did you do? And then I tell them, I'm always so proud. I just get if anybody who comes to my house, they know I'm always kind of like, girl, let me show you this. Let me taste this. I'm gonna pack you up some of this. Tell me what you think. Is this too sweet? Like I had people testing the last crumble that I made because I was like trying out the whole, let me cook it at a higher temperature and cook it faster. And I ultimately decided I didn't really like it, but yeah, I mean, it brings people together. It's also culture. Yep. I pride myself too. Sometimes people call me a soul food chef, and I don't have a problem with that, but I do more than that, right? So I'm not just veganizing food that I grew up eating in the South. That's like kind of the least of what I do. I do cook that, but I also, I cook Italian food and Mexican food, Jamaican food, Ghanaian food. I cook all these different cuisines, Chinese food, Thai food. It's like I just love exploring food of different cultures, and I could have a whole lesson on your spice cabinet. I'm curious what's in your spice cabinet. So like if I open up mine, which I could do, it's very junky in there. I know where everything is, but but
look, I tried
if I
bracket, and it only lasts for maybe a couple days. So so kudos for people who have an organized spice racket.
Right, kudos. But what I was going to say was you ought to have several different cultures going on in your spice cabinet. You know, if I was like, you know what, I want some Indian food today, there is a certain set of spices that comes to mind that I'm going to pull together. Your turmeric, you know, your ginger, your garlic, your garam masala, you know, it's like this set of things. And I would know what to tap into to do that. You know, cardamom. I love Indian spices, right? Versus if I was going to do Italian, I'd be all outside because I got oregano growing. I got rosemary growing. I got basil growing. Yeah, versus if I was going to do soul food, there's like food is culture, and you know, certain foods and spices should come to mind when you think of certain cultures. And so it becomes, you know, all the different rich ways that you can explore food. It just keeps me so motivated. Yeah, when I did the Ghanaian lesson, you know, we did a warm-up activity where I made these cards. They had Adinkra symbols on them and what the symbols mean. And everybody chose a symbol that resonated with them, the message of the symbol, the meaning. They chose the symbol, whatever symbol they wanted. And that's how we introduced ourselves. So what I'm saying is food is culture. So I did a whole like activity around a cultural activity around the type of cuisine we were exploring for that day. So yeah, it's so many angles,
so many things,
so many lessons, so many things to be explored.
That is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, I mean, this, when you talk about food, you can literally just have a whole lesson. I mean, a whole teachable moments of food. I mean, so many routes you can take, and that's just amazing that you're giving your gift to people like this, Vita. So just applause to you. I mean, everyone's saying thank you. Powerful lesson. You're getting so much love on here. Really enjoyed this. Another
thank you.
Someone said, somebody said on here, I'm trying to go up. They said, Roberta said, I wish I lived closer to you, Lavita. And I'm starting to think too. I'm going to go on Zillow tonight and see if we're ready. Because the way we'll be over there. So thank you so much. This is awesome.
Yes, Roberta is another one of my colleagues. I believe this is only my colleagues on this call. But you can be like my sister Carla, who is probably on this call. She's one of them people that's always in the neighborhood. Girl, I was just in the neighborhood, you know, and because something. Usually, I have some kind of food, you know, to serve or share, something to share, and yeah. Or the other night when I made the crumble as a test, you know, the test run to see how I felt about it at a higher temperature. I texted like 6 of my neighbors and I was like, crumble will be ready in 30 minutes if you want to stop by. And
wow.
I guess it was too last minute because nobody stopped by. but you got to be ready though. You got to be ready if you want to come over here for food. I could text you tomorrow on a Saturday morning, Maya, and say, I'm cooking blah, 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 you know. It'll be ready by 1, and you just gotta.
Well, we will be there, okay?
For real. I know you run to my kitchen. It's because I smelt the crumble. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like, you know, burning. And it actually looks really good. I went on my Instagram and I tagged both of you, DC Bridge Park, or us, DC Bridge Park and Vita. So it's bubbling. So tell her, like, you know, is it almost ready?
It's bubbling. Oh my goodness. It's bubbling.
It was. So like, just so y'all know, I don't cook. I mean, I do, but I don't bake. I don't bake at all. So this is like one of my first introductions to baking. So Levita, shout out to you for getting me out of my comfort zone, as you will be doing for the whole month of September.
Thank you. And also, this was so easy, right? I mean, I know we were talking and we were going through the steps, but really, like when you're on your own, you know, in your kitchen making this, it's like it's so fast. You know, put the stuff on the berries, stir that. You know, however you're going to deal with the crumble, whether it's with your hands or food, that it's so fast. And then you put it in the oven and go do something for an hour. Yeah. But this is a nice dessert to you know, use for a beginner baker, or you don't have to be I'm saying someone who doesn't feel as comfortable with baking. This is a great place to start. And I have also made real pies. Well, I don't want to say real pie, like this isn't a pie, but I'm saying the ones where you have to make the crust and roll it out and all that, right? And so I'm loving this because we don't have to do all that. Oh, let me say this. If you wanted to have a bottom, you know how the traditional pie, you have the crust. Mm-hmm. We could have I could have run my food processor a little longer and made that mixture a little finer. And then I could have just taken it and put it in the bottom of the pie plate. And I could take like the bottom of a measuring cup and just press. Mm-hmm. I could press that into a crust. Mm-hmm. Because you got the elements of a crust. You got the fat and the flour or a grain. And you could just press it, and you could have like a traditional pie crust, and you can make a little extra so you can have the crumble on top as well. Whole Foods has a crumble, and theirs has a crust on the bottom, and it has the crumbly sweet top on the top. So, yeah, yep. What else? I'm wondering, did anyone use coconut oil? Anybody out there in the social media realm? because that's a great fat to use. And we need to not think of all fat as being bad. The fat, like say in a pork chop, that's not the same as coconut oil. That's not the same as avocado. Like avocados have fat, but it's good fat. Olive oil is a fat, but it's a good fat as long as you don't heat it above where it's supposed to be heated above. You should be using your olive oil to saute or to make dressings. But coconut oil would be a great substitution too for butter. I make great chocolate chip cookies, vegan chocolate chip cookies, where I use the coconut oil, or I use a combination of the Earth Balance vegan butter and coconut oil. And no, you don't have to worry about, oh, my stuff is going to taste coconutty. It's not. Okay. It's not going to taste coconutty.
Yeah. It's one of the healthiest oils on the planet. Oh, wow. And it can reduce inflammation. It can boost your immune system. It can also balance your hormones, which is really good. Helps in type 2 diabetes, fights cancer. It can also improve skin condition too. I know a lot of people sometimes just put coconut oil right on their skin too. I know I use it for my hair. It's one of those coconut oils. It's one of those things that is so versatile when you use it. So when I think I tried cooking with it a year ago, and I noticed such a difference with the food. I was like, I'm definitely using this again. So It's just always a plus when it has
Yes.
these great benefits to them.
Yes. And people might go, oh, but it's expensive. And it is expensive. But
Right.
in my house, we use it for food, but even more so I use it less for food, actually. If I was using it just for food, it would last me a long, long time. But I use it for food, but I also use it all over me. It's like my lotion. And it's
Right.
my hair stuff. So I justify the expense of it because I get so many different uses out of it. And then it has these benefits, And so had I used that would have been like the most expensive ingredient today. I've had this jar for a long time. Trader Joe's has a good price on coconut oil. Also, you can find coconut oil sometimes at Marshall's and TJ Maxx on their food aisles, and you get a good price. Next time I do the crumble, I'm gonna try putting the almonds. I was gonna put this in with the crumble mixture. If you like nuts, buying like slithered almonds and incorporating them, and that's another place where you can massage with your hands. But I was gonna pulse it into the crust. I thought about it and I decided not to. Yeah. So
Wow.
coconut oil, oats, blueberries. What was the other thing? Cinnamon. Those are the things we decided.
Yeah.
Well, I decided we should hear about today. I'm so excited to see everybody's crumble or your process. So please, if you took pictures along the way as you were preparing and before you start eating it and feeding it to people, you can take a picture of it on the plate, take a picture of somebody gobbling it up. We want to see the pictures. Get some telling photos, some clear photos,
Right.
up close, good angle. And
Yeah.
We would love to hear what you did. I'm also curious, like, what are the types of fruits that people use? Did everybody use blueberries? I know not everybody, because Destiny is doing apples. Somebody else put blackberries with theirs. I think you said that earlier, Maya.
Yes.
Anybody else want to share what fruits? Strawberries.
Earlier said cranberries. They were going to.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. Oh, someone said blueberries, Beth said blueberries, raspberries, and cherries.
Cherries.
Okay.
Cherries.
Ooh, like the bean cherries. The I'm assuming. Ooh, I love those.
Right.
I love those cherries. I've never worked with those cherries in a baked dessert. So I would love to try that. I would like to try one that's like a mix of different stone fruits. So like your cherries and your nectarines and even apricots, and it can get really interesting.
You said stone berries?
They're sometimes referred to as stone fruits because of the seed in the middle is like hard. It's like hard, like a stone. Yeah, so I'm throwing that around like that's what I grew up calling them. That's not what I grew up calling them.
Right.
But that's what it is. That's what we're talking about, those fruits with the very hard seed in the middle. So your peaches, again, your nectarines, your apricots, the cherries, the plums.
Okay.
So that could be really interesting because I've only really, out of all of those things, peaches are about the only one I've baked with. The rest of them I kind of thought of as like, I don't know. I didn't think of them as things I could necessarily bake with.
Right.
But it's like endless possibilities with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Vita, now when someone has their crumble in the oven, Are they supposed to wait for the berries to bubble and the top get golden brown? Like, will they both happen simultaneously, or how does that work?
Yeah, when it's ready, both of those things should be
Good
in
to go.
effect.
Okay.
Bubbling and a brown top.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, I have a pretty efficient stove, and I've been letting mine stay in there for a good 55 to 60 minutes. Okay, because you got this nice low temperature, 350 for a long time, so it's not going to. Ooh, my stove is beeping. Is it time? I think I put it on a little less time.
Yeah, I smell mine. I'm like, should I
smells?
Please, and
everyone.
It
smells so good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
I know it does.
Oh my God.
Please.
Oh my God.
This is when it feels like
my fruit went all up on top of my berry. This is amazing.
Yes, please.
But is it really time?
Picture.
I do think so.
Yeah. I think we put it at least.
My goodness.
To go check mine. It looked like it was, like I said, it was bubbling and it looked brown, but I just didn't know how brown. So I'm gonna go back to the kitchen.
You gotta get a close up.
and feel if your crumble is crunchy. Oh my goodness, my berries. I don't know this.
Are you able to put it under your hands camera?
Oh, this looks really good.
I may not have. Maybe I should not have used this cast iron skillet. My berries are all up on top of the freaking crumble.
Let's see.
Look, it was covered in crumble at first. It was covered in crumble. Now
y'all ready for mine?
Yeah.
Okay, right here's Destiny. Oh my.
Ooh. I don't want to drop it because I'm a little clumsy, for those of you.
That looks good.
Hold on. Technical difficulties. Can y'all see it?
See, we can't hear you, Lavita. You might need to unmute your oh, that looks good, Destiny. That's a nice golden brown color.
Thank you.
That looks good. Yeah,
Yeah, Lavita, we can't hear you. Try connecting. We lost your hands camera.
Yes, you might need to unmute your laptop camera.
Oh yeah, laptop. Yep. Nope. Just unmute your laptop.
Yeah, my phone went out.
Okay, well, we hear you on your laptop.
Okay. Oh,
we hear you.
Goodness.
So
okay.
First, how did I do? Oh, you want to see it again?
I want to see it. You gotta get it. You gotta get a taste, Destiny. You gotta get the spoon out and the taste.
Oh, I gotta taste it. It's hot.
Oh, yours looks perfect. That's perfect.
I don't know why, but for some reason, I just think this reminds me of my grandma. Anytime she had any type of apple pie or apple crumble pie, she would always make sure she has like vanilla ice cream on the side of it.
Oh,
yes.
She just had to get a scoop of ice cream with it.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. My crumble is all up under the fruit. But it's looking real good though.
Take a picture so I can tag DC Bridge Park and Vita the Vegan
Yes,
Chef.
take a picture. And if anyone's still here, just want to remind again that this is coming out of Lavita's heart. So if you want to have a special donation or a gift to her, you can Cash App her $ Lavita Monday. So please.
Oh my!
It says, may we please see your crumble again, Lavita? I love the berries bursting on it.
Okay, let me go back. I'm trying to get on my phone because this skillet is heavy.
Okay.
So I'm not going to, I need to show it from my actual phone. So 1 second.
In the meantime, I think I'm gonna try it. I'm a little impatient as well.
Yeah.
Please don't scald your mouth. Seriously. Seriously. Do not cause yourself an injury.
True.
That's weird. Okay. Is this, can you?
Now you need to turn down your phone volume. There we go. Okay, there it is. It looks like it's still sizzling. I don't know if that's just on my end, but oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. The color, nice, deep, rich purple.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear us, Vita?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is not working. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
So this isn't working.
See now, Destiny. Now you just tempted me, Destiny. You just tempted me now. That looks good.
Oh my goodness.
Look, I'm just after this. I might have to go to the store and buy some berries because you're right. I mean, the ingredient list is so simple. I pretty much have everything but the blueberries. But how's it tasting, Destiny?
Oh, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
This is really, really good. This is really, really good. The crumble has like a really nice texture. It tastes almost like not like graham crackers, but like a granola bar.
Granola. Someone else, I think, said in the chat that they're going to substitute granola because they didn't have any oats in their house. So they said that they were going to use some granola to kind of act as the crumble.
Mine is so good.
Let's put you on the front, Levita, so I can see what you eat.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I have to. I slice the sugar in half for all parts of it. Is so. Oh my god!
Because then you allow that berry flavor to really take over. So that's just. Listen, let me call my husband now to tell him to run to the store real quick because y'all making this look too good.
Oh my goodness! And there's this tart because I put all of the lemon juice in.
Okay.
There's just this nice sweet with the tart. I'm telling you, think about everything that you make where some lemon juice and zest might again take it up a notch. This is heaven. This is so good.
Don't forget, honestly, to tag us, take your pictures. I know a lot of people have stayed on. Thank you all so much for staying on with us. Really appreciate you. We're gonna be here all month, right? Every single Tuesday, from 6 to 7-ish. You know, we ran over a little bit today, but honestly, if you taste your recipe, it was so worth it. It was so worth it. Vita, what's on the docket for next week? Next week we're working with squash, right?
Butternut squash.
Okay.
I don't want to hear your thoughts about squash. Oh, I don't do butternut squash. I don't like squash like that. I ain't never had no butternut squash. It's going to be so good. I swear, you got to come. It's free to pay what you wish. Yeah. I got some ideas going in my head about what to do with squash. I do a few things. But whatever we do, I promise, it's going to be similar in that it's going to be a handful of ingredients, and it's going to be something that's going to make you happy. And squash is so perfect, right? Everything that's in season is so perfect because we're going into, well, this is September, but soon it'll be like Thanksgiving.
Right.
So you need some practice with the squash, because what I show you, the things I'm thinking about would be appropriate, like for a Thanksgiving feast.
Okay.
All right. So please join us.
Everyone get their butternut squash for next week.
Yep, and we'll
everyone go and enjoy that berry crumble. Everyone enjoy it for me, because I'm just going to race out of here and go to the store. Thank you, everyone.
And continue to stay tuned for the recipe list for next week. We'll send out a link for you guys for the recipe for this week, and then we're also going to send you all a link to sign up for next week's class. So please stay tuned. Thank you all. Thank you, Levita. Thank you. Everybody have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.